Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu, mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services. Discover how to hire for success in today's session with Imran Sayed. He is the founder and CEO of Hatchproof. He's a tech executive based out of San Francisco, and he's probably the coolest guy. He's probably the coolest guest we've ever had with some of the coolest glasses I've ever seen. The first question is, what's the secret to your success?
Thanks for having me, Lily, and appreciate being on. I think one of the things that always stands out for me is when I was a kid, I remember getting in the car and just driving with my dad. And that was just something you did. You just got in the car as kids and you're like, let's go for a drive. And some days it'd be short drives, some days it'd be long drives. And oftentimes we'd end up in the same spot. The real difference between when they were short drives and long drives and ending up in the same spot was my dad knew where he was going versus when he didn't. And when I think about the secret of success, and especially mine, it's been laser focused on knowing where I'm going and where I'm headed. And I've always sort of like prescribed to something like that as I set goals for myself personally, family, business, etc. as a whole.
Thank you. What's your blueprint to becoming an awakened titan, and how did that lead you onto getting focused on how to hire for success?
First and foremost, it's self-awareness. I think you need to align to yourself first and really understand your strengths, your weaknesses, areas of development. I'm a relentless learner, and I really think about that as filling in the gaps of the areas that I'm interested in or the areas that help sort of complete and round me as a whole. Third is execution. I think you can have wonderful ideas, but if you're unable to execute on them, you're going to fall short of really your full potential. And lastly, really bringing all three of those together is drive. And, all of us have different levels of drive. And, I think to become an awakened titan, the blueprint really involves lots of ingredients, but knowing the right recipe and bringing it together in a cohesive way.
Thank you. How did you become a titan, and how did you start hiring for success?
Yeah, I think adaptability and embracing challenges and opportunities for growth. I think approaching life and learning from a place of starting fresh. I've often evaluated whether or not I should be in the role that I'm in every year. I've approached jobs even at senior levels as if I'm the intern and learning on day one on the job. And I think if you approach life that way and approach hiring and sort of any new opportunity, it really creates this opportunity for looking at it from a different light, one that has a ton of appreciation, but also is sprinkled in with lots of learning opportunities.
Thank you. Tell us about how did you start hiring for success, and how did that lead onto some of the biggest achievements you're proudest of that you'll share with us right now?
Yeah. I think when we think about work and we think about the things that we've accomplished at work, for a lot of us, the aspects that stand out are the people that we work with. And the people are a direct result of hiring amazing folks around you, right? And so, when I think about, my experience, whether it's at Oracle or Instapage or what I'm doing today at Hatchproof, I think about the accomplishments, but I can't think about the accomplishments without thinking about the people. And so, when you approach things from a hiring perspective of how do I surround myself with the best people, it really starts with alignment. You've probably heard the statistic that 80% of us stay or leave a company because of who we work for. It's so true. And that's what really characterizes work. And I talk a lot about this with Hatchproof, but one of my main drivers for building it is I feel as humans, especially in developed worlds, we're looking for fulfillment. We're looking to do our best work, what we call in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, kind of reaching self-actualization, what I call self-expansion. And when you sort of achieve some of those levels, connecting with people that match that level of energy can really, catapult your career and actually make work fun, make work purposeful, and, really ultimately drive some amazing products and services out there.
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs hire for success, and how your solution that leverages AI can help them do it?
Yeah, I think especially in this world of AI, the human capital piece is most critical. And the organizations of tomorrow, I'm of the opinion that there'll be large organizations, but the human capital footprint will actually decrease. So we're going to be able to do more with less people. That makes those folks actually very critical to the success. You're going to see a lot more companies emerge, but something that I think going to be going away is this notion that to be big, you need thousands and thousands and thousands of people. AI has really become everyone's superpower to help you scale, no matter what size of organization you are. And so I think tying that back into the people element, what becomes really critical is first knowing thyself, right? And knowing who you are, and then understanding how do you attract and align yourself to the right candidates to bring them into the organization. That's what Hatchproof really helps do. We create alignment between a hiring manager and a candidate. And we think that is a secret for longevity. It's actually the secret for happiness and growth inside an organization as well. Hatchproof is leading the way with a retention platform that is actually end to end. So we manage the whole cycle, how people come into an organization, how they onboard, and how they ultimately grow.
Thank you. Tell us more about how the AI platform that you have helps entrepreneurs to hire for success specifically. I mean, like in terms of metrics, is there any particular matchmaking that happens on the platform that helps for this alignment to actually happen?
There absolutely is. And so we've built a proprietary model built off of 50 years of science that actually looks at things like what you value, your emotions, your personality, and starts to kind of match that up. And of course, we know that opposites attract, and we take into account like your team environment and structuring alignment based off of that. Where I think a lot of AIs fail is we're not a recommendations engine on you should hire this person, but what we are providing you is here are folks that you're very aligned to, attuned to. And we're helping to sort of sift through the thousands and thousands of applicants that you see to help you realize that. I think this gives entrepreneurs and businesses a leg up. As you're starting to think, we all spend so much time hiring, so much time actually wondering and discovering if the folks that we do have are the right folks to have on the team, and as our needs evolve. And so we kind of decode all of that.
Thank you. So how does this platform compare to what's already out there in terms of matchmaking candidates with suitable jobs?
Yeah, for sure. The HR tech space has a very fragmented, siloed approach. As you might know, there's a lot of different systems out there. And what's really difficult is connecting them to create a story that really matters. Where Hatchproof comes in is we're vertically integrated day one. We've built from the ground up. So we're not building on top of something. We're also a post-pandemic company and really taking into account how the world has changed over the last 3 to 4 years, what the meaning of work it means for both employees and employers. And so we've built a platform from the ground up that actually connects all those elements so that our power users can tell that story inside the organization, the true value of human capital and what everybody is there to do and accomplish. We want to help teams not only figure out who are the right teams, but help them win.
Thank you. How does the platform measure up that the candidates have the right values and so on? Is it that the candidate is asked certain questions like what are your values and this kind of thing? Or is it keyword based on off what they put in their CV?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do believe in our digital body language and sort of the breadcrumbs that we leave out there. And so we're actually, one of the things that I found really as a shortcoming of assessments out there was they were long, they were time consuming, and they're static, right? I did a test a couple of months ago, 144 questions, and accurate, right? So by the end of it, I had a really good sense of I am this and that mattered. But that's really not the way we work, right? Our relationships are dynamic. If we think about our personal relationships, we're different with different people, right? We evolve, we grow. I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago, and I certainly hope I won't be that person 2 years from now. Hatchproof is dynamic. We actually use your digital body language through means like LinkedIn and figure out who you are. But then we also give you an opportunity to self-select. Forced choice. So, kind of like you're either this or you're either that. And it's a really simple interaction that a candidate can go through and take an assessment.
Thank you. How can employers leverage your company in order to find more suitable candidates? Is there a fee, like a monthly fee? Is it a per candidate fee? How does it work exactly?
Yeah, for sure. So our pricing model doesn't really, there's a ton of pricing models out there in this space. And mine had to really reflect the goals of where we see value for not our company, but for our customers. And so we don't charge by candidate or application or number of jobs, because we really want our companies that we help support to actually be successful in the metrics that matter. So we have a per user licensing model, which is very typical in SaaS. And not only do we help hire and bring on the right people or help you evaluate the team you have, but we do the onboarding and then we do the employee life cycle. So your one-on-ones, performance reviews. So you really get an end-to-end solution for an organization.
Wow. It sounds like a very complicated platform. Is it a complicated platform made simple for employers?
Yeah, complexity is an interesting word. We have designed, one of our core values of the company is simplicity. And whether we think about design, whether we think about the way we interact with our customers, we're really focusing on how do I take you from step one to step two as quickly as possible, as easily as possible. Our platform is very easy to use. In fact, I've used some ATS systems that to create a job, it takes 12 to 14 steps before you can even publish. We help you do that almost with ease in a few steps. So I would say the platform is really simple to use. We have a really robust onboarding. So we actually help brands get up and running on the platform very quickly and get set up for success. And so I think most customers will find it very intuitive and easy to use.
Thank you. What guarantees are there that the way the candidate is being read in terms of the overall behavioral assessment, and what guarantee is it that there is accuracy in that?
Yeah, hiring today is based off of something called Taylorism, and during the Industrial Revolution, we saw mass hiring take place. Job analysis led to job descriptions, and resumes sort of match with that. We got smarter along the way, and we introduced applicant tracking systems to take large volumes of data, make sense of it. People put keywords in their resume, and then you had these applicant tracking systems pick it up. The way we hire today just does not work. Employee retention is $1 trillion challenge in the US every year. It costs somewhere between half a person's salary to 2x their salary to replace them inside the organization. I think there's a Harvard Business Review study that says 38% of new hires don't even make it past the first year, right? And if we do prescribe to, we work for people, and the reason I'm going to stay at an organization is because of the person I'm working for. What Hatchproof allows you to do is help decode who that person is, humanizes them, essentially. Which sounds like a strange statement where we use AI to actually humanize employee and employer relationships. But we believe that, this way actually puts the human first and creates that connection at the workplace, which we're all longing for, versus looking at it from a pure skill set standpoint. Well, the last part I'm going to share about that is our research points to you learn more on the job than you actually do before you even come into the job. And if that thesis is true, then really hiring on skills becomes obsolete very quickly inside an organization. You probably know a ton of folks that join a company, and within 3 months, the job description that they got hired for is outdated and old, and they're working on so many other things. That's why connecting on individual to hiring manager makes so much more sense.
Thank you. tell me more about what aspects is the AI platform that you have looking at, and give me an example. If you can take me as an example. So let's say I'm an influencer, and let's say a company was to hire me for something. What aspects would they look at? Would they look at my Facebook, my LinkedIn, or is it just my LinkedIn, what I speak and what I post there? What specifically is the platform looking at in order to analyze, okay, is this kind of person the right person for our company to do X, Y, and Z?
So the name of the company, Hatchproof. Hatch is something new, a new idea. Proof is in proving that you're doing it. Hatch actually stands for habits, aspirations, temperament, convictions, and hard skills. And that was a very long name for a company, so Hatch kind of fit it in. But those are like the 5 areas that we really look at when we're assessing that. Today, we're predominantly LinkedIn based. And like I said, we have an assessment tool. So folks can kind of come in and say, okay, let me just answer these questions. It's 30 questions to really help round out that profile, depending on how complete somebody's LinkedIn profile is. But we use our matching algorithm and tool to actually look across those 5 categories and figure out who you are.
Thank you. Give me an example of 3 typical questions that are part of the assessment, just to get an idea of how employers are gauging the kind of personality that or temperament that the potential candidate have.
Yeah, I'll do one better actually. When we take a look at elements like habits, for example, right? Things that kind of pertain to your personality. You've got skills of I'm a preventative style, I'm a promotion style, and so we're able to kind of assess that. And so our questions will look at examples that actually push you towards here or there, right? So forced choice on that, which we find, and the research actually supports that works best. So the collective of questions are really designed around pushing you towards those 2 extremes, and where would you sort of land? We make it really fun and accessible for folks, and we use a lot of research and benchmarking off tools like dating tools that say, hey, you're either this or you're either that, to kind of help us come up with those questions and how we sort of connected them to the five core areas.
Thank you. In terms of team building, there are some programs that assess what type of candidate would be best in which team. So for example, you have, let's say, a creative person that perhaps is a good match for someone who is a mechanic, who is very good at doing sort of like tasks that are repetitive. And then you have another type of person that is more like a saver and so on. Do you take into account any of those types of programs that kind of tell you, okay, this is the kind of team that would be best together, and then this is the kind of person that would fit best into this kind of team? Do you take into consideration any of that into your AI platform?
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful aspect of work, right? We are connected to our teams, and our first focus area is helping folks and candidates align to self and then align to your manager. The next iteration of that is align to team, align to organization. And that's really where the product is headed. And we want to try to really change the game of giving a candidate the power to not only see who their manager is, but also get a good sense of who the team is that they're stepping into as well. And so part of our product roadmap is taking us there.
Thank you. Tell us more about the number of companies that are currently using this SaaS.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Hatchproof has been in development for the last 6 to 9 months. And after my exit at my previous company last year, I was very fascinated with the space and had a chance to manage an HR function in 2021 and got deeper into alignment. I also saw firsthand, Lily, of when alignment doesn't match, what can it do to a brand and a company? And it became sort of an obsession for me of like, hey, how can I help other companies sort of avoid this? So in Q4, we're actually looking to do a soft launch of our platform. And so the goal is to actually find some beta customers. We're really limiting the amount of folks that we allow into the platform. We have some amazing design partners that are already using the platform and have been guiding us along the way in terms of feature sets and strategy and how we're incorporating that into the tool. Our full release is January of 2025.
Wow, great. And in terms of alignment, that's a very important term for a lot of companies. I wonder though, is that something that companies actually search for? Let's say if they were to search for something like that in Google, would they search for alignment in teams, or what would be the keyword that companies tend to use for referring to finding a team member that aligns well with their company?
Yeah, totally. We are heavily focused on being the market leader in the retention solution space. And so my goal is to go out there and market and really, position Hatchproof as a retention platform, as a retention solution. And so our audience would be searching for retention. The typical organization has about 100 people, faces somewhere between $660 to $2.6 million a year of retention loss, right? And so we're really targeting folks that are searching for keyword phrases like, how do I improve employee morale? How do I improve employee engagement? How do I improve retention? How do I help with hiring? What's my onboarding practice? And really, we're catching a lot of sort of traffic based on searches like that. Employers are hungry to try to hang on to their A players, right? The team members that really move the needle and help empower them to grow, create growth paths. There was a study done that, looked at millennials and Gen Zs, and 70% of them would leave their current jobs if they didn't have an employee development plan in place. And so employers are looking for those things. And then the inverse, candidates are really looking to join organizations that have systems like this in place, right? And not disparate systems, a centralized way to actually bring somebody on, help them sort of excel and grow. I've long, found onboarding to be very disappointing and one size fits all at organizations. And we're all so unique. We're all so different. We learn differently. And Hatchproof actually takes that into account based on your behavioral profile and changes your onboarding, right? And so, in the example I shared earlier, if somebody is a promoter, we're making your onboarding meet as many people as possible in your first month inside the company. If you're preventative, focus on the job at hand. And so that customized, deeply personalized way of looking at employees is really what's going to make the difference in the market.
Wow. So are you saying that the AI platform can actually dictate a different type of onboarding process based off your personality?
Yeah, it can. And it can set you up for success based off of that. And we can personalize it to however the organizations we work. Our recommendations are 1 month, 2 month, 3 month onboarding programs, depending on the type of business you have. We take assets that you already have inside your organization and help point the candidate to those. But yeah, we deeply personalize that learning based on who you are as an individual. That foundation makes such a difference to long-term tenure.
Thank you. So in terms of retention strategies, what would you say are things companies do that fail to retain their ideal employees?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's a number of factors that lead to retention. The challenges that I hear and what the research points is that employers fail to provide growth opportunities for an individual. They fail to compensate them. So there's a compensation misalignment that takes place that creates resentment. There's a failure in making folks feel valued, heard, seen. Those are the three that become really daunting. And that really impacts somebody's decision to stay or leave. The ones that are successful, there's a stat that I read that If you're actually making employees feel valued, like they're contributing, that they have a growth plan, most will turn down offers even $10,000 greater than where they are today, because of that alignment to the manager and to the org. We did an independent study that actually showed that folks that had a great relationship with their manager had the longest tenure inside of an organization as well. And tenure alone isn't a great predictor, because you also have to have engagement, right? You don't just want somebody to stay at a job a really long time if they don't love the job, if they're not contributing, if not feeling value. So Hatchproof really focuses on that one-on-one aspect that ties into the performance review to help be those checkpoints and milestones that move tenure forward.
Thank you. What other strategies do you have for companies to retain more of their employees?
I think it's really simple. I look at it like a relationship, right? And, what are the things that with a partner that are important as non-negotiables in a relationship? Open communication, making people feel valued, treating people with respect, valuing not just the work, but the potential that they have. And, with relationships that fail or relationships that don't excel, somehow forget those simple attributes. The same is true in the work environment, right? I feel like that we're entering into this really amazing era where AI and human capital is coming together. And, it's not something that we should be afraid of. It's something that we should truly embrace, because AI is giving us this opportunity to extend our outlook at work, to be able to do a lot more with work. And I think that this is a great opportunity for both employers and employees to actually rethink the value system of what's important for them entering into it.
Thank you. Now that ChatGPT is so widely used and similar AI platforms, I read an article which was talking about how employers were choosing not to hire employees that were using ChatGPT as part of their CV or their cover letter. And I do think that it's a tricky thing, because you want people to be smart enough to leverage the tools that they have at hand, but at the same time, you don't want to be receiving the same cover letter from 20 different individuals. So how do you think that your platform can help to navigate this particular issue of having tens of employees applying for jobs with AI?
Yeah. I think AI has obviously helped bring this further and sort of empowered more and more people to have the ability to do these things. But, kind of go back to, we had cases of this pre-AI, right? Where, somebody else writes somebody else's cover letter, or, and I don't know about you, but you discover very quickly that who the cover letter or who they were in the resume didn't really match up to how they showed up, whether that was in the interview or in the work, right? And it's a really kind way of saying, like, you can't fake it forever, right? And you can't exist inside an organization completely 100% reliant on AI doing your job. If that was the case, the job wouldn't actually need to exist, right? It'd be just a bunch of prompts. And so I think there's a lot of tools out there that are helping with sort of the policing of these things. Hatchproof isn't focused on helping you write a better cover letter as a candidate to land the job of your dreams. We're helping you discover yourself, right? We're helping you figure out who you are from a self-alignment. And then we're matching you to organizations or recommending those organizations where you're a fit. I see so many candidates, especially in this environment, that get really sad and depressed, and it's tough out there, right? They've applied to 100 different jobs and they haven't heard back from many of them. And the truth is, they probably shouldn't have applied to hundreds of jobs, right? They should have focused in on 10 or 20 where they felt a real connection. But how do they figure that out? It's so tough for a candidate to figure that out. And so, from a candidate empowerment standpoint, we're really just working on figure out yourself, apply to jobs that actually you see a connection with the hiring manager and there's a fit. And from the employer side of it, I know that when I was hiring for a number of different roles, I spent so much time just going through candidates, right? Sifting through hundreds and hundreds of CVs. And we want to help eliminate that process and bring to you the folks that are higher value, higher alignment to the organization faster. And then we want to give you the tools to not only make a great decision, but to get them up and running really quickly and set them up for success in the future.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.